Today I am going to teach you a lesson. We are not afraid to die if we can all be together. Writer Gordon Cook and Ellen East. Let's see the characters here. The narrator and the captain himself and his family consists of Mary, his wife, Jonathan, 6 years old son, Susan, his 7 years old daughter. Two crewmen, American Larry Weasel and Swiss Herb Sessler accompanied with them in their voyage or journey. Let's see their journey, adventures ordeal. The phase 1 we have seen. The voyage or journey began with hope and fanfare in July 1976. And it's their hat-trick efforts of the captain and the crew to protect Wave-Worker. Phase 2, we have seen they are searching for an island. They struggle for the last 15 hours. And there is highly emotional response of child Jonathan declared, "We are not afraid of dying if we can all be together. You, Mummy, Sue and I." So based on this very line, actually this adventure story is written. And third phase is cheerful landing. They cheerfully landed in the island of Ile Amsterdam. Let's go to the chapter. In July 1976, my wife Mary, son Jonathan 6, daughter Susan 7, and I set sail from Plymouth, England to duplicate a round the world voyage made 200 years earlier by Captain James Cook. And for the longest time, Mary and I, a 37 years old businessman, had dreamt of sailing in the wake of the famous explorer, and for the past 16 years we had spent all our leisure time honing our seafaring skill in British water. So, the narrator was talking about the journey with his family from Plymouth, England in July 1976. He has said that they wanted to duplicate the round the world voyage made 200 years ago by Captain James Cook. His family consists of his wife Mary, his 6 years old son Jonathan and 7 years old daughter Susan. The narrator was a 37 years old businessman. Both Mary and he had a dream that they wanted to fulfill. So for this they had been spending for 16 years to hold their seafaring skills, to make their skill perfect. They did a lot of practices in British water before started their travel in the ocean. The boat Wave-Worker, a 23-meter, 30-ton wooden hull beauty, had been professionally built, and we had spent months fitting it out and testing it in the roughest weather we could find. So, in order to travel, they made a boat, and its name was Wave-Worker. They got it professionally built. It was 23 meters long and 30 ton in weight, and the whole body was made of wood. They spent testing for months even in the roughest weather. And they made small journey on the ocean in all weathers so that they can improve their seafaring skills. The first leg of our planned 3 years, 1,05,000 kilometer journey passed pleasantly as we sailed down the west coast of Africa to Cape Town. There, before heading east, we took on two crewmen, American Larry Weasel and Swiss Herb Sessler, to help us tackle one of the world's roughest seas, the Southern Indian Ocean. So, the first leg of their planned 3 years and 1,05,000 kilometer journey passed. The first part of their journey passed smoothly and pleasantly until they reached Cape Town. They got no problem at all. Before moving further, they took 2 more people in their crew. One is American Larry Weasel and another is Swiss Herb Sessler. They both accompanied with them to tackle one of the world's roughest seas, the Southern Indian Ocean. On our second day out of the Cape Town, we began to encounter strong gales. For the next few weeks, they blew continuously. Gales did not worry me, but the size of the waves was alarming, up to 50 meters and as high as our main mast. So on the second day onwards, their journey was not smooth at all. They faced strong gales and winds. Next few weeks, there were continuous windstorms. He says that the storm was not dangerous, but the size of the wave was as high as the main pool of their ship. They went up to 15 meters high. December 25th found us 3,500 kilometers east of Cape Town. Despite atrocious weather, we had a wonderful holiday complete with a Christmas tree. New Year's Day saw no improvement in the weather, but we reasoned that it had to change soon, and it did change for the worse. So, on 25th December, they had already covered 3,500 kilometers east of the Cape Town. They even celebrate Christmas in spite of the rough weather or terrible weather. And they hope that weather would be changed soon, but there was no improvement of weather. It continued to be bad even on the New Year's Day. At dawn on January 2nd, the waves were gigantic. We were sitting with only a small storm ship and were still making 8 knots. As the ship rose to the top of each wave, we could see endless enormous seas rolling towards us, and the streaming of the wind and the spray was painful to hear to the ear. To slow the boat down, we dropped the storm ship and lashed a heavy mooring rope in a loop across the stern. Then we dowed lashed everything, went through our life raft drill and attached lifelines, donned oilskins and life jackets and waited. So on the 2nd January, the waves were really gigantic or huge. Endless big waves came rolling towards them. The wind screamed. They slowed the boat down and dropped the storm ship. They tied heavy ropes tightly to the back end of the ship, so they tied everything so tightly as nothing should be damaged during this time, during this bad weather. They attached lifelines, means rope. For security purpose, they wore oilskins, waterproof jackets, oil jackets or life jackets. Then they waited to see what they are going to face. The first indication of impending disaster came at about 6 p.m. with an ominous silence. The wind dropped and the sky immediately grew dark. Then came a growing roar and an enormous cloud towered up of the ship. With horror, I realized that it was not a cloud but a wave like no other I had ever seen. It appeared perfectly vertical and almost twice as the height of the other waves, with a frightful breaking crest. So, the first sign of impending disaster coming at about 6 p.m. So, there is no wind. There is complete calm, and then the sky became totally dark. Then came a sudden roar that increased to the thunder. He realized that it was a big wave that he never seen before. It was perfectly vertical. It was so high, double the size of normal waves, and it broke down on the top of their ship with a frightful noise. I realized that he has a doubt that whether they could overcome the thunder, but it took no time. A tremendous explosion took place and shook the deck. A roar increased into a thunder as the stern moved up the face of the wave, and for a moment I thought we might ride over it, but then a tremendous explosion shook the deck and a torrent of green and white water broke over the ship. My head smashed into the wheel and I was aware of flying overboard and sinking below the waves. I accepted my approaching death and as I was losing consciousness, I felt quite peaceful. So then came a sudden roar that increased to a thunder. A tremendous explosion took place and it shook the deck. A wall of green and white water broke into the ship, and his head was smashed into the wheel. He accepted his approaching death. He was losing consciousness but felt quite peaceful. Unexpectedly, my head popped out of the water. A few meters away, wave worker was near capsizing, her mast almost horizontal. Then a wave hurled her upright. My lifeline jerked taut. I grabbed the guard rails and sailed through the air into the wave worker main boom. Subsequent waves tossed me around the deck like a rag doll. My left ribs cracked, my mouth filled with blood and broken teeth. Somehow I found the wheel, lined up the stern for the next wave, and hung on. So, when his head popped out of water, a few meters away, he had seen the wave worker was near capsizing, about to turn into the water. Suddenly, another wave come and make it right. He held a lifeline and the guardrails and able to move towards long pole where the sail is tight. He said that there was still wave coming and tossed him around the deck like a rag doll. He said that his condition was really worsened because his ribs had cracked and his mouth was full of blood and broken teeth. Somehow he was able to locate the captain's wheel and get ready for the next wave to fall on the ship. The first part I am stopping here today. In my next video, I will continue the rest. Hope you like my video. Do like, share and subscribe please.